Alright, so today we're talking about the CIBC Dividend Visa Infinite card, a card that at first glance looks like it could put real cash back in your pocket every time you tap. But in the next few minutes, I'm going to pull back the curtain on every perk, every hidden limitation, and all the fine print so you can decide whether this card actually fits your life or whether you're better off swiping something else entirely. I'm also going to break down the core 4 metrics I use to size up any credit card so you'll know exactly how much money this card can put back in your wallet both next month and 5 years from now. And by the way, I'm Jordan, and between this YouTube channel and my website, I've helped hundreds of thousands of Canadians save hundreds of millions of dollars just by using credit cards. Now, before we get super deep in the weeds here, I do want to introduce that core 4 because that framework is the secret sauce that lets me compare dozens of different cards side by side. And so first comes the welcome bonus multiple, which measures how strong the welcome bonus is. And right now, CIBC is offering up to $350 in cash back. You get $300 from a 10% bonus on your first $3,000 in spending, plus an extra $50 if you set up a pre-authorized payment in the first 4 months. So that works out to $750 a month. And so for a lot of families, $750 a month is barely grocery money, so the hurdle really isn't that high. And because the card's annual fee is $120, it means that the bonus is worth 2.9 times the annual fee, which beats my benchmark of 2 times. Now, the second piece of the core 4 is return on spending, which measures how strong the card's earn rates are. And so on paper, you're going to pocket 4% cash back on groceries and gas, 2% on dining and recurring bills, and 1% on everything else. But to put these earn rates in context, we also need to look at some sample spending as well. And so this is the spending profile that I use for every credit card to see how the card stacks up. It may not match your spending exactly, but it is based loosely on average spending data from Stats Canada, with the numbers rounded a bit to make them easier to work with. And so if you crunch those numbers, this card spits out roughly $45 in cashback every month, which works out to $540 a year. And then when you divide that $45 by the $2,000 you spent to earn it, you can see that the card delivers a 2.3% return on spending, which does fall below my 3% benchmark for a strong card. And so in other words, the earn rates look punchy at first, but once you average them across real world spending categories, they're really just okay. Now, before I share the third and fourth components of the core 4, I want to first talk about the features and benefits of the card because you'll understand everything else a lot better that way. So first, the travel benefits. Because this is a Visa Infinite card, you get the usual concierge access to Visa Infinite Dining Series, and also the Wine Country program. These are definitely nice touches for foodies, but they don't save you real dollars unless you're actively using them. But with that said, you'll also get auto rental collision coverage and some trip insurance, but the coverage limits are really just middle of the pack and frankly nothing that you can't find on a lower fee card. The more interesting money-saving perk is CIBC's cashback on demand. So unlike cards that force you to wait until January for a statement credit, CIBC actually lets you redeem your cashback once your balance hits $10, and that goes straight into your account wherever you feel like sweeping the funds. And then another small win, you can link the card to Journey rewards and then save up to 10 cents a liter at participating Pioneer, Fast Gas, and Ultramar stations after you hit the monthly Journey thresholds. So this isn't life-changing, but if you do drive a lot, it can nudge your effective gas rebate above 4%. And then beyond that, most perks are garden variety Visa Infinite stuff. So the concierge line I mentioned, extended warranty, purchase protection, these are useful but not particularly unique. Okay, so now let's go back to the core 4. Number 3 is time to break even, which measures how long it takes the average person to break even with the card. So the reason that I look at this specifically is because you want to be able to recoup the investment you make in the card as fast as possible. And so specifically, time to break even measures how many weeks of regular spending it takes to pay off the annual fee. And so because you're earning roughly $45 a month and the fee is $120, then you wipe out that fee in about 12 weeks or approximately 3 months. And honestly, that's pretty fast. My benchmark here is half a year or 26 weeks. So the card pays for itself quickly if you're spending around $2,000 a month. And now number 4 is the long-term value multiple, which is a measure of how much you get back from your spending on the card year after year without including any sort of annual credits or other sorts of benefits. And so multiply your $45 in monthly earnings by 12 months and you get $540 a year. And then you subtract the $120 fee and your net value per year is $420. Then you divide that net value per year by the annual fee and you land on a multiple of 3.5, which means you theoretically get $3.50 of cash back for every dollar of fee that you pay, and that's comfortably above my 2 times benchmark. And so when you put all 4 of these metrics side by side, you can see that the CIBC Dividend Visa Infinite passes on 3 of these scales, the welcome bonus multiple, the break-even time, and the long-term value multiple, but it falls short on return on spending. And so if your goal is to squeeze every last penny out of your card, then this card performs okay, but it's certainly not perfect. And so a quick recap on the dollars and cents here. The annual fee is $120, and because this is a Visa Infinite card, you're going to need $60,000 in personal income or $100,000 in household income to get approved for it. That said, you can get a full rebate on the card's first year fee, which helps make it a bit more accessible. But at this point, if I were to pick the card's top 3 features, I would say first, the 4% earn rate on gas and groceries. Second, the cashback on demand redemptions, which you can redeem anytime you reach $10 in cashback. And then third, the Visa Infinite dining and wine perks that can be pretty fun if you actually use them. So the question now is, who actually wins with this card? In my view, I would say families who spend big on gas and groceries and want hassle-free cashback rather than messing around with points. And if you're already collecting Journey rewards, then the card can work pretty well for you too. But if you're chasing outsized travel value, aspirational flights, or a blended earn rate of something above 3%, then this card is not for you. And also, students and side hustlers without $60,000 in provable income won't even be approved for the card at all. And then also, if you're a hardcore points optimizer looking to get the most out of every dollar you spend, you're also going to be better off with a more powerful card. And so as for me, I don't love this card because the earn rates look impressive, but they're actually quite average when you run the numbers. One thing that a lot of people miss is that once you've rung up a combined $50,000 in annual purchases across all categories, the accelerated rates that you're receiving drop all the way down to 1%. Plus, there's a category cap of $20,000 across the 4% and 2% categories combined. And so that's not going to bother most people, but heavy spenders need to be aware of it because it means that the more you spend, the less you earn, which doesn't really make sense to me. And then there's also something else in the fine print that might trip you up as well. That 4% rate only applies to merchants coded as grocery or gas, but places like Walmart supercenters and Costco warehouses often code as other, and so you're going to be receiving just 1% on those purchases. So the problem is you might expect to receive a lot more cash back than you actually do, which is never a good feeling. So let me leave you with my final thoughts. The CIBC Dividend Visa Infinite isn't a bad card, but it is kind of just middle of the road. It pays for itself fast and dishes out cash back reliably, but it never pushes into the fast lane where the truly rewarding cards live. If you want set it and forget it kind of simplicity and your grocery cart is your biggest monthly expense, then this card will do the job. But if you're looking for maximum value, more flexible rewards, and premium travel perks, then you can do a lot better. Fortunately, there are better cards out there, cards that deliver higher earn rates, juicier welcome offers, and perks that can turn your everyday spending into bucket list travel rewards. So to learn how to supercharge your credit card strategy and start earning way more than the CIBC Dividend Visa Infinite could ever deliver, watch this video next.